Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I am out running some errands tomorrow. I'll be on the road again, as always. Got to get down to work, do some work down in the country. You know, I love working down on the red brick house and things, so got to get that stuff out of the way before I get ready to head to Oxnard. I can't believe we will be out in Oxnard for 4 practices, including one on Wednesday that will be team scrimmage. The Cowboys start practicing in pads on Monday. So I'm excited, I'm ecstatic, I can't wait. I'm getting all my stuff together as we speak now to try and bring you the best coverage that I can do. So, watching the press conference, and shout out to everybody who took time out from their day to be part of the reaction show on that. One thing that I really and truly noticed, or at least it felt that way, when you saw the postseason interviews of Mike McCarthy, I will say, looked like he wanted to be on a Southwest commercial. You want to get away? And it seemed like for most of the offseason, he was kind of reserved, kind of like his tail between his leg, like he didn't have any confidence. The interesting thing with this press conference today was Jerry Jones, Jerry Jones, you know, with him, you could see how emotional he was that Maryland wasn't there. Jerry Jones, of course, does what he always does, takes over the thing to start with, and then it kind of went to Mike McCarthy. Stephen Jones did not speak until really about 30 minutes into this thing. It was way into this press conference before he heard anything from Stephen Jones, and it felt like Mike McCarthy was more in charge. Jerry was very adamant about his faith in Mike McCarthy being the coach. He wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't believe. Okay. Somebody asked him, well, if you believe in him, why didn't you give him a contract extension? That was really kind of a stupid question, because he's only done 2 years of the 5 years. There's still 3 more years left to his contract. So the Cowboys would never do a contract extension before, at soonest, the 4th year. And with Jason Garrett, they ended up waiting till the last year. He played, or he coached on the last year of his contract twice, which is not typical. So that was kind of a bullshit question to ask. Well, if you believe him so much, why don't you give him a contract extension? I don't have to. If you believed in Dak Prescott, and it seemed like the way they talked about Dak Prescott, they believe in him beyond just what he does on the field, him being the face of the franchise and things. They recognize and they want him to be the Dallas Cowboys' next NFL Man of the Year. They do. They are really working hard towards that. They want that to happen. But Mike McCarthy, it almost felt like he was the coach. That's what it honestly felt like to me, that Mike McCarthy was the coach. I don't know if this is all, shits and giggles because it's the beginning of training camp, if it's going to change and evolve, but I honestly felt like Mike McCarthy looked relaxed, he looked confident, he looked like he was ready to go, and he looked like he was in charge. Maybe you guys saw it differently than I did, but it seems like that may be the way. We've got a lot of people that have doom and gloom for the Cowboys, but I think about the Cowboys of the 90s. That team had some great, don't get me wrong, and Mailman, I appreciate you delivering the news and the questions too. I agree that the Cowboys did take some risks with the Dion, with the Charles Haley and stuff. But for the most part, those teams were kind of homegrown guys that they found, or guys that they brought in that were cast off, that they plugged in to make a team, and that they were very, very young and had an opportunity to grow together. I feel like, for the most part, without the exception being that I wish we would find a Deion Sanders and Charles Haley, but for the most part, that's been what the Cowboys are trying to do. Sometimes you get lucky and you find a Jaron Kearse, a guy who's been a journeyman cornerback, who, with the right coaching and put in the right position, becomes very, very successful. Sometimes you find a Carlos Watkins, who has been basically a role player as a defensive tackle for other teams. He comes to Dallas and gets the opportunity with the right coaching and becomes successful. That you end up finding players sometimes later in the draft that you're able to put together and become a team cohesive together. And that's what the Cowboys were of the 90s. They made a lot of trades. They brought in a lot of players. They were constantly turning over the roster and trying to find the right guys. And when they found those guys, they held on to them to go together. The thing that's interesting, and I put this conspiracy theory out there myself, was Jerry Jones came out swinging about Mike McCarthy being his coach. And he also came out swinging about the 3 players that were let go. And what he was talking about, or at least their excuse, and maybe this is all bullshit or not, but the reason that they're not there is availability. And when you look at it, he says, for the amount of money that you're paying these guys, that they have to be available. And that fits the narrative when you talk about Lyle Collins, who right now is on the PUP list. It doesn't explain away Randy Gregory, because you weren't willing to offer him $75 million, the same contract that you also offered Von Miller. So I'm not sure that it holds water with that argument with Randy Gregory, but you can look at Randy Gregory, though, and you can definitely put him in the category of availability. The amount of time that Randy Gregory has been able to play, being that second round draft pick, and the years he's been in the NFL, he hasn't been available a lot of it. He just honestly hasn't. And even last year, he did have some injuries that he missed time. And knowing that he ended up having to get shoulder surgery on his rotator cuff may have also been a factor of, as we're looking at this big money contract, that maybe El Paso was the right move going forward. Because at the moment, it doesn't look like Randy Gregory is going to be ready to start the season, and may start the season on the PUP list. And we already have Lyle Collins, who is on the PUP list with a back injury, and this is before you've started having any contact. So maybe, just maybe, the Cowboys made some decisions that will look better down the road than when they were first made. That's the thoughts that I have on here. We're going to be a very, very young team that is going to make some mistakes, but sometimes you can make up for young mistakes because you are young, that you're going to be healthier going down the stretch, that you will get better going down the stretch, and are able to compete longer. Because for me, it's never been about the starters that we've had, as much as losing some of those starters and having to start from square one with guys that just can't do it. So that's what I got. I'm just so happy that we're actually talking about something that's going on, with the Cowboys directly, as opposed to dealing with all the stupid crap that we get from the talking heads. Shout out to all of you new channel members. I think we've got 9 or 10 shot glasses shot glasses, some with footballs and stuff, that are going out today. All of you channel members that are tailgate members that have been so for a year or more, I haven't forgot about you guys. Life has just been so busy, but you're going to get yourself, we're going to get you a mini Joe Barty that will be a special edition gold Joe Barty for you special fans. So that's what we got for you guys. As always, I appreciate everything that you guys do. I appreciate you guys. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Peace.